Hello. Hi. Today I'm going to be talking about Midori, 1992, also known as Shoutsubaki or Mr. Eroshi's Amazing Freak Show. This is not your typical animated film. In fact, it's one of the most infamous and controversial works to ever come out of Japan's underground cinema. Directed almost entirely by Hiroshi Harada. Major spoiler warning for those who haven't seen it. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? The movie opens by establishing Midori's fragility and isolation. We meet her as a small, ordinary girl with a home life that quickly collapses when her mother dies, leaving Midori effectively orphaned. That loss is the film's inciting trauma. It strips Midori of protection and places her in the position of being prey to supposedly helpful adults. Shortly after this bereavement, a traveling show, a carnival freak show run by a ringmaster, Mr. Eroshi the circus leader, appears on the scene. The circus offers Midori what seems to be rescue. A roof, a place to belong, and a role. The early scenes contrast Midori's naivete and hope against the circus's gaudy exterior. The audience sees a classic narrative hook. Lonely child meets new family, but the film quickly subverts the expectation of refuge. Formally, the opening uses still illustrative animation and careful composition to establish mood. Images feel like pages from a grotesque storybook, and small, seemingly mundane details, a toy, a meal, a ring of light, are staged so they later become symbolically weighty. From the first act, the film signals that this is a story about being put on display. Now let's head over to the unfolding. Once Midori joins the troupe, the film's tone shifts from melancholic to relentlessly cruel. The circus is shown as a closed, hierarchical micro-society. Performances double as mechanisms of control. Midori is presented not simply as an artist but as an object for other people's entertainment and profit. The day-to-day life sequences accumulate. Humiliation, coercion, and physical abuse recur. Small kindnesses are rare and often undercut. A critical new figure arrives partway through, a dwarf magician-like performer who occupies an ambiguous moral space. For a time he offers Midori protection and tenderness that contrast with the rest of the troupe's brutality. Their relationship forms the emotional axis of the second act. It is both the film's slender hope and one of its most troubling ambiguities. Is he a rescuer, another exploiter, or both? Throughout the middle of the film, Harada, the director-animator, lingers on tableau-like images, faces in close-up, performers caught in grotesque poses, the machinery of the show, and Midori's small, repetitive gestures. This repetition creates a feeling of entrapment. Because movement is often limited, the viewer is forced to dwell on single frames, which amplifies the horror and makes each act feel inescapable. Now let's head over to the finale. The film's climax and ending resist neat summary because intentional ambiguity and surrealism are part of its point. Rather than delivering catharsis or justice, the ending dissolves into imagery that blurs dream and brutality. Midori's arc does not culminate in triumphant escape. The film refuses to reward the viewer with closure. Concretely, the last sequences pull the viewer away from linear narrative and toward a montage-like, symbolic closing. Key motifs from earlier in the film reappear, often inverted into a nightmarish register. The relationship between Midori and the magician does not resolve into a clear salvation. Instead, their dynamic is reframed so the audience must ask whether any so-called protection was genuine or simply another form of possession. The final moments leave Midori's ultimate fate ambiguous and haunting rather than explicit. The film closes on an image or sequence that lingers, a visual echo that keeps the story circulating in the viewer's mind. In effect, the ending makes the spectator sit with the cruelty instead of offering narrative consolation. Personally, I think Midori is less of a film you enjoy and more of an experience you endure. It's incredibly uncomfortable to watch, and I can't say I liked it, but at the same time, I understand why it's considered such a powerful piece of underground art. It really pushes the boundaries of what animation can show, and it forces you to think about how society treats the powerless. There's also a common misconception I want to clear up. People often say Midori was banned worldwide. That's not actually true. The film was self-funded and self-distributed, which meant it barely got shown outside of underground screenings. Many countries avoided releasing it due to its extreme content, and some places did ban it, but it was never officially outlawed everywhere. Its scarcity and taboo nature are what gave it that banned reputation. For me, that's what makes Midori fascinating. It's not just the disturbing content, but also the mystery around its history, its censorship, and how it survived as a kind of forbidden artifact of animation. It's not a movie I'd revisit often, but it's definitely one I'll never forget. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.